channel, and I've switched over to continue retro gaming because I have a whole stack of stuff from Japan that I am super excited to break out here. Bunch of it came in the mail both yesterday and today. Finally, I've been waiting forever for it. But that's what happens when you win auctions in the middle of a pandemic and things take forever to get shipped. So the first thing I want to show you guys is I won an auction for a Bandai Wonderswan color. This is the box here. Very excited for this, and honestly, I will say that it was supposed to come with a game. It was supposed to come with Final Fantasy 1. It was not included in the box, so I've reached out to the seller to get that back, or to get that. If I don't get it, that's fine. I can. It's relatively inexpensive on eBay. The cool thing, though, with this, I did not realize. I mean, I knew it was like a Game Boy rival and like a Sega rival, but I did not realize how small it is. It is actually, it's about the size of my cell phone. I mean, you can see right there, it's, it's a little bit shorter, but it's about the same width. And so, I mean, it's small, and it plays both horizontally and vertically, from what I understand. And yeah, I mean, it's super basic, clear components on the back side, crystal black on the front side, and the dude who I bought it from did a phenomenal job of taking care of it. I mean, he still had the plastic that the thing came in. He's still got the cardboard surrounding piece to it. I've even got the instructions and the warranty card. They're all in Japanese, so I have no idea what they say, but it's pretty awesome. I mean, I was really impressed when I opened the box. There's a poster with some games on it and stuff too. That's kind of cool. So this one is gonna sit in the box for a little while until I can get that Final Fantasy game, and then I can play it and actually enjoy it. When I first started looking at this, I started looking at it with the intention of reselling it in America. That was before I found out that nobody's really super duper collecting them, which is fine. It stays in my personal collection now, so there. The next thing I want to get into is the Super Famicom that I won. Everybody's seen the Super Famicom system and what it looks like and how to play and all of that. It looks just like a Super Nintendo, but I wanted to show off some of the games that we got with the Famicom. It came with 2 controllers and 20 games, which for the price that I got it for, I was dumbfounded. And I got some really good stuff in here, and one of them actually that I'll get to here momentarily, it caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. So the first one that I wanted to show you was Super Mario RPG. There you go. It's Super Mario RPG, just like we got here in the States. And yeah, it is what it is. Next up is another one that is very similar to what we got in the States, and that is Super Mario Kart. A lot of well-known differences between the American version, which I also have, and the Famicom version. One of which is the celebrations when a racer wins a championship or wins a race. Princess Peach will drink until she turns red in the face. In the Japanese version, Bowser will just like pour alcohol and champagne all over himself. In the American versions, they don't do that. There's some other subtle versions too, and a couple different tracks, but those are minor details really. Next is the Super Mario Collection. It's known as Super Mario Collection in Japan. This is Super Mario All-Stars in the United States and in North America. So it came with Mario 2, Mario USA, which was Mario 2 here in the States. Mario 2 in the States was actually Super Mario The Lost Levels. The reason for that was they took a game called Doki Doki Panic and turned it into Super Mario Bros. 2 for the United States and really North America in general. Because they felt that the actual Super Mario Bros. 2, the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2, which was more like Mario 1, was too hard for Americans to actually enjoy. So they took a game called Doki Doki Panic, they repackaged it with Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess Peach, and sent it out to the United States. And it's the weirdest Super Mario Brothers game of that first and second gen, I guess. It would really technically, if you wanted to get technical about it, it's second and third gen, but I digress. That NES, Super NES generation Mario games, that one, Mario 2, just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. The US Mario 2. There's a handful of other things in there as well on the Mario collection, which is pretty awesome. Next up is Wild Tracks, and this is essentially Stunt Race FX. If you had that for your Super Nintendo, I have it. It was one of the first to use the 3D FX graphics accelerator for the Super Nintendo / Super Famicom. Some people love the game. I personally enjoy it. Other people hate it, and rightfully so. I could see why they would. It doesn't hold up to Mario Kart. It's slow. It's the frame rate is just atrocious. And yeah, it's just it has a tendency to be a bad game. I just happen to enjoy it. Next is Super Donkey Kong, which is exactly what you got in the United States, and Super Donkey Kong 3, which is also exactly like we got in the States here. So now we'll get to the sort of the weirder and obscure stuff that came in this. And the first one that I want to show you, it's from Capcom and Disney, so you know it's really, really good. And I want to thank SNES Long Play for the footage that I'm about to put behind me. This is called The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. And this is the title, this is the cart here. And you're seeing some of the gameplay. I have not played this yet, and I'm really, really looking forward to getting into it because I played DuckTales and I loved it. I played Chip and Dale on the NES. I've played, DuckTales 2. So a lot of these Capcom Disney games were really, really, really well done. The cool thing about this one is it's in English, which is great. And so, I mean, I love the fact that it's in English, and because it makes it easier for me to understand what the hell I'm doing, and how to get through the game and play the game. And we'll get to some actual in-game footage here. You can see it's a side-scroller platformer, or whatever you want to call it. In that same vein, I'm sure there's some puzzle elements to it eventually as well. But yeah, so there's Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. I want to thank World of Long Plays for that footage. And we'll go to our next title, which is another... this is a different partnership. It's not Disney and Capcom, but another fruitful partnership based on American cartoons, and that is Sunsoft and the Looney Tunes. And I want to thank Japan Spell for the footage on this one. This is called Looney Tunes Roadrunner versus Wile E. Coyote. And you can see here in the title screen, it's in Japanese. At least the title screen is. You can see the levels are not, though. Not in Japanese, that is. And another game I haven't played yet, another platformer. Kind of, it looks okay, I guess. obviously the object is to outrun Wile E. Coyote, and avoid all of these various obstacles that are in your way, like the scorpion and whatnot. Collect birdseed to regain some of your health. There you go. Platformer, simple platformer, but done fairly well, courtesy of Sunsoft and Looney Tunes. And thanks to Japan Spell for the footage on that one. Trying to give credit where credit's due on some of these. The next one that I want to get to, I want to get into it a little bit so that you can actually see some of the gameplay footage. This comes from Retro Soccer Gamer, and this title is called Zenkoku Koku Soccer Senshuken. And it's basically high school soccer. You select teams from various regions around Japan, and it's soccer. It's pretty straightforward. You can see there. It's just supposed to center around the theme of regional high schools versus, like professional soccer teams. Interesting gameplay from a side view. You can see the fouls there, and pretty solid game for its time. In Japanese though, so I'm gonna have a hard time playing this one, which it's okay. It's not gonna hurt my feelings that I'm not good at any of these games yet. I'll get there, I promise. All right, next one is a game from who made this one? Hell, I don't know. Battle Presto, and they put out a title called The Great Battle 2, Last Fighter Twin. So this comes from the Last Fighter series. This is big thanks to World of Long Plays for the footage here that I'm about to show you. It's in Japanese. It's these mech bots. It's a beat 'em up, side-scrolling beat 'em up, I guess. And it looks like it might be a little bit of fun. I'm not gonna understand how the hell to play it, but you know what? If I can scroll around and beat people up and beat up luchadors, apparently, I'm okay with that. So thanks to World of Long Plays for that. Next up is a title that I'm very interested in playing. It's something that I never got into it. I had a roommate in college that loved it. I never understood its appeal, but now that I'm older, I'm very interested in wanting to get into it because I have a bunch of friends who swear by it. And that is Dragon Ball Z. And this particular title is Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden. I think I pronounced that right. And this is from Shiryu GL, the footage that I was able to find on this title. There you go. I knew I was going to screw that up eventually, not going full screen. But yeah, so it's your standard Dragon Ball Z fighting type game. Very similar to like a Mortal Kombat with Dragon Ball Z themes. The one thing that's weird is that there's this map in the middle of the screen. You can see that with the orange and green dots there. And you can see where projectiles are. And then the screen does this weird, like, you kind of diagonal cut in half when somebody's in the air and they're on the opposite side of the screen, and see how it just, and I don't know if that might take some getting used to, but you'll see how it rotates there as they move from one side to the other. A little bit weird, but you know what? I'm not going to complain. It's a Dragon Ball Z game. Next up is one that some of you should be familiar with if you were a fan of Super Nintendo games back in the day. This is Kirby Bowl, and I wasn't able to find any footage of it. The only thing I could find that was similar was like Kirby's Dream Course, which I don't know if it's the same thing or not. I'm going to show you the gameplay anyway from Max Laguna. And I'm going to keep it brief because I really don't know what from what on this one. So I'm going to have to defer. So here you go. Here's a little bit of the footage. It's basically like a Marble Madness mini golf kind of thing. It's not really much bowling, I guess. I don't know. It's more mini golf than bowling, I guess. I'll say that. So why it's called Kirby Bowl, I don't know. Okay, next one. This is one that a friend of mine was super excited that was in the list. I've never heard of this before, but she was all kinds of excited that this title was in this collection, and it is called Crayon Shin-Chan. And this is from funstockretro.co.uk on YouTube. This footage here, I've never, ever heard of this game. That's what it looks like. Shin-Chan. Apparently, he drew on a wall at his house, and then it made him have to go around and jump on people. I don't really understand what's happening because I haven't read or learned how to read Japanese yet. I'm getting there. I know my vowels. It's a start. But yeah, thanks to Funstock Retro in the UK for the footage on that one. Next up is another one that came over to the States under a different title. And I gotta thank Bizarro 13 for the footage on this. And it is Samurai Spirits. There's your cart right there. Samurai Spirits, I believe, came over as Samurai Warrior in the U.S. Not 100% certain on that. Thanks, Joe Biden. Good job. Now you're going to get me in trouble on YouTube. All right, the next title coming up is a little bit robots, a little bit sports, and pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. This footage comes from Old Games Database. This is a game called Ultra League. To be more specific, Ultra League Morero Soccer Daikessen. It is a soccer game with robots. Ultra League robots, to be specific. Pretty straightforward, not much to it. It's soccer, it's robots. Looks interesting. Only one way to find out, I suppose. All right, we'll move on quickly here. Next one is a game that I have no idea what in the holy hell is happening. So if you do, leave a comment and explain it to me. It is Super Nazo Puyo for the Super Famicom. The cart itself has meatballs on it, but it's a puzzle game like Tetris or something with these little meatballs. But it's also got like a Earthbound, Final Fantasy, Zelda map kind of thing to it, and then you just jump into this weird puzzle. So I don't know what's happening. I really, honestly, and truthfully do not understand what's happening. All right, so the final handful here are sports games, and then one that's a little bit of everything that I want to talk about too. This first one is Super Power League 3. It has a robot or a baseball player laced in gold. Thanks to Old Games Database for the footage on this one. This is a Japanese professional baseball game, and it looks really, really good for a Super Nintendo or Super Famicom game. No idea what's happening, who these teams are, who these players are. I don't know if it's officially licensed by anybody. It was made by Hudson Soft, so I doubt it. But I don't know who any of these people are. I can't really make out anything with it. But yeah, that's Super Power League 3. And the next sports game, thanks to Teros Classic Gaming for this particular footage. This is called Battle Dodgeball. Yeah, I got a dodgeball game. How cool is that? I wouldn't really know it by looking at the cart, but yeah, it's dodgeball with these giant ass robots. And it looks like a hell of a lot of fun, actually. I don't know what's happening. It's like it's got RPG elements to it, I guess, as you can see up here at the top. So, yeah, I don't know. Whatever works. And then last but not least is, well, it's not last. I've got one more to go after this, but this one was interesting. It's a Super 101, and when I couldn't really make out the images that were on this cart when I was bidding on the Famicom. This was just kind of like, oh, it's a cheap, crappy throw-in, whatever. This has some AAA stuff on it. I was impressed. It's got like Mario and Castlevania and a couple of different Ninja Turtles games and just all kinds of really, really cool stuff. And I had some trouble getting it to work and to cooperate, so I don't know if it's just a product of certain games on the cart not cooperating or if it's just bad coding on whoever put it together's part. But yeah. And then last but not least, this one came in a box, and this one honestly reminds me of my childhood. I love it. I had this game for the Super Nintendo when I was a kid. I got a huge kick out of it. My brother liked it. My dad even liked it. And, he wasn't really big on games like this. He was more of, your bases loaded and your racing games and stuff like that. But this one, he kind of dug, and I got into it, and it was really, really fun, even though it was literally like the worst game we owned. But I have it for Super Famicom now, and I have the box, and that's even cooler. And it is Mario Paint. Everything in here, it is complete. It has the mouse. It has the pad for the mouse. It's got the game. It's got the instructions. It's got everything in it. And I was so stoked when it came with the Famicom. And that one is staying in the personal collection too. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that's the collection. That's what we've brought out. It's what we got from Japan. And all of this stuff is staying in my personal collection because it's always been, I wouldn't say a dream of mine, but a goal of mine to have a Super Famicom, and now I've got one, and I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty stoked. So that's checks one off of my bucket list. I also I have a complete list of pretty much every system that came out in North America from 1972 to most recent, and a couple key ones from Japan that were really part of the gaming culture throughout the years. So yeah, I've got everything listed. It's my goal to own them all. There's 62 in all, which means I'm going to need a bigger basement at some point. And I'm probably going to need someone to make sure that Ashley doesn't kill me when I have 62 separate consoles in our basement. But yeah, I mean, some of this stuff is going to be hard to come by. The Magnavox Odyssey is not cheap. The Apple Pippin, I've had my eye on it, but it's $600. And right now, with everybody being at home and demand going up for these things, prices for retro stuff has skyrocketed. And it's nice. It's great when you have a big collection, like I do, and like some of my friends in that gaming circle have, because it's almost like an interesting little validation for all of the years we've put in and all of the money we've invested in this. To finally see it start to pay off is kind of cool. I mean, I have a friend who owns a retro video game store, and he had like 4 or 5 copies of like Def Jam Fight for New York, and they were all in his personal collection. He had some for sale in the store too, but he had 4 copies in his personal collection. They went from being worth like $40 or $50 to being worth close to $300 out of nowhere for some reason. He said he sold them all. And, except for, one for him to keep for his personal collection, and then the ones that he had for sale in the store. But out of his personal collection, he sold the extras that he had, and he's like, if I want more copies of it, I'll just buy them back when the market resets. And I thought about that, and I'm like, man, it might be a bad time to buy, but it might be a good time to sell. But then the more I thought about it, the more I love the games that I have, and it's really hard for me to part with them. If I go through like a thrift store or a resale shop or something, and I come across something that's worth a little bit of money, I might buy it. If I see something, I try to reciprocate that through karma in a little bit. Like I kind of feel bad going to Walmart, going to like a Goodwill, buying a game for $3 and then selling it on eBay for $35. So I try to reset my karma a little bit when I see things like on Craigslist or something that is just like somebody who has something, and it's one of those situations where they're like, I'd love to keep it, but I need the money, and they've got it way undervalued. I can tell them, you know what, you can probably get, it might be worth $100, and you might be able to get 80 out of it. If you put that for sale for 80, even you've got it listed for 30, you're gonna get ripped off, man. And so I try to pay that back a little bit. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. People sometimes think I'm a little crazy when I'm like, hey, I don't want your thing. I already have what you're trying to sell, but you could be making a ton more money on it. But yeah, so I mean, I love collecting, and I don't know if I'm gonna do a whole lot of selling stuff going forward, at least for the time being. Because right now I really care about my personal collection, and I'm really enjoying building that up, and it's fun for me. When I was going through and selling stuff and buying stuff and selling stuff, there was this obsession with finding a steal and finding deals, and then finding things that people would actually buy, and then flipping them on eBay or on the personal store or whatever. And it's just, it was stressful. It really, really was, because A, it's hard to keep up with that kind of pace, and B, especially when, I work full time, I'm in school, I have a lot of stuff going on, with the family and everything, and it's a lot, and it really is. So I've sort of recaptured that joy, if you will, just focusing solely on my personal collection. So that's why you haven't seen much listed lately for sale. It's why I'm basically non-existent on eBay on the selling side. On the buying side, I'm still looking, but I'm having fun with it. It's stuff that I want to add to my personal collection, and stuff that I'm gonna play, and stuff that's just not gonna sit on a shelf and collect dust and let it accumulate value. So I know I'm rambling, and I promise this would be just about the stuff that I got from Japan, but I was so excited to share it with you guys, mostly because that passion for collecting is back for me, and I'm super pumped up. So just wanted to share those thoughts and get some of that off my chest. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were really intrigued by the collection, and I'm usually not averse to sharing in the fun. So if you're a close friend and you know where I live and you want to play some games, hit me up. But outside of that,